We continued our exploration of the delightful island of Cedar Key in the Gulf Coast of Florida. And it was a beautiful day. The sun was out, the breeze was starting to pick up.
Oh, there you go. Got the real estate.
We were trying to make the most of this day and really soak it in because there was a hurricane coming in our direction. One of the very rare named hurricanes to hit Florida in November. But that's how it goes in Florida. You really never know what's going to happen with the weather. And since today was Patrick's birthday, we were going to make the most of it and enjoy our time on Cedar Key as much as possible. And we were really enjoying it. This is such a lovely area. One of the things I like to look for when traveling are unusual signs. This main street had a hurricane evacuation sign. This other street has a sign to remind you to keep an eye out for golf carts. And then here's a sign telling you to watch for those low-hanging oak trees. We stopped back at the room and then headed toward the other side of the island. We were going to the Cemetery Point Park, which also has a disc golf course and a nice little area to walk around. The disc golf course is scattered around this whole area, so you do have to keep an eye out if anybody is playing on the disc golf course. And we keep thinking that we're going to get a frisbee one day so we can try this.
What a great little park. Lots of things. Fishing, fitness trail, picnic pavilion, disc golf, little water station. Neat. There's this interesting looking bench here that is to commemorate John Muir's visit here. He walked to Cedar Key apparently and really liked it. So yeah, John Muir, interesting guy. Weird guy, yeah. Adventurous.
As the sun was starting to go down, we had one more stop in the park, and this was actually the main reason that I wanted to visit this area. They have an old historic cemetery, and it's just so neat to see a cemetery like this with these oak trees and the Spanish moss blowing in the breeze with the sunset in the background. Very glad that we made the walk out here. We enjoyed walking around and reading the gravestones from some of the people who lived here a long time ago. But we didn't want to hang around too long because the sun was going down, and when you're in Florida, especially on an island like this, it's really important that you find a good place to watch the sunset because it's almost always a spectacular show. So we made the walk back over to where we were staying because right across the street was the perfect spot to watch the sunset. And it did not disappoint. We spent a few minutes standing here soaking in the spectacular show of this Gulf Coast sunset, and then we went back to the room to get changed and get ready for dinner. But even as we started to walk toward downtown, the colors and the view of the sunset just seemed to keep getting better and better. So It was quite the long show for this sunset. Such a great part of being on the Gulf Coast of Florida. Tonight was Patrick's official birthday dinner, and this time we were going to eat at Steamers, which is a very well-known seafood restaurant in the cute little downtown area of Cedar Key. You have to go upstairs to the restaurant, and our favorite part was actually the clams that we had for an appetizer. These are the locally grown clams and collected clams, and they were great. I got hush puppies and some eggplant wrapped in pastry, and Patrick, of course, had fish. We had to get dessert because what's a birthday meal without dessert? It would be easy to forget at this point that there was still a hurricane moving toward us, and we kept getting alerts on a regular basis. But the good thing was, as we kept an eye on the weather, it seemed like things were starting to slow down, so we had our fingers crossed that we were going to make it to our flight.
A little bit cooler today, a little bit breezy, although I don't know, it might always be breezy here, but it's definitely cooler and cloudier. And I woke up with that storm warning on my phone, so it's definitely coming. And there's the banana flower. This thing is just the neatest. Each day one of the petals opens and a new set of flowers are shown, and then the bees and everything will be going crazy, and then the next day another petal will open. Down by the water you have room 10, 11, and 12, and you got the sitting area, which yesterday had a bunch of people in it. Today it's chilly. And there's a lot of birds in the water today. I didn't see that yesterday either. The tide is definitely out right now, and all these birds are getting their breakfast in the mud. There's a lot of little crabs and probably all sorts of other things that the birds are pretty excited about. I am definitely sad to be leaving Florida today, but the one good thing is we'll get to see the red dog today. Well, if all goes well with our flight, we'll get to see Redford.
We enjoyed one more morning sipping our coffee on the waterfront, watching the birds fly around and get their breakfast. And then we were reminded that we really needed to get moving, and we started my least favorite part of every trip, which is repacking, especially when you're flying and we have to try to fit all of our camping gear into that one big red suitcase. It's a challenge.
We're stuck behind a golf cart.
It's pretty neat though, like when you're on the island, most people don't even drive. Like you see more golf carts and bikes than you do cars. It's a different lifestyle for sure. Closer, we're actually not that close to Tampa yet, but we're getting toward more of the touristy areas. This is Crystal River, which I think is one of the spots they have like manatees and things in the winter. And there's a lot of RVs on the move today, like this one in front of us. Everybody's going, a lot of them are going north. I don't know why this one's going south, but a lot of them are moving, which is smart. I wouldn't want to have my camper here with a hurricane coming in. We decided to stop at Tarpon Springs before going back to the airport to get lunch.
Yeah.
In a quarter mile, your destination will be on the right.
Very touristy. Do you have any crickets? Oh, park and pay, $5 a day.
Do I want that?
I don't know. This area is famous for the sponge docks and the Greek culture. Lots of Greek restaurants here, so we thought it'd be a good stop. Sure. How much is it? I hate when the parking places don't tell you how much it is. They just want you to pull in.
Credit card.
We found a good parking spot for $5.
Yeah, very touristy. But, I mean, close enough to the airport that we can, like, walk around, stretch our legs. Yeah. And not feel too nervous that we're too far away from the airport.
Yeah.
They're doing it. Like that guy over there is just trimming the sponges by hand.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
At this point, it really did feel like there was a storm coming. The sky was starting to look pretty angry. There was a good, strong, steady breeze. So we were just going to stay here long enough to eat and then head to the airport, drop our rental car, and sit to anxiously await information to see if our flight was actually going to be able to take off that night. There are a ton of stores, shops, and restaurants in this area, but we were on a hunt to get some Greek desserts, so we looked for a bakery that was a little bit off of the main area.
I feel like we need to stick with our normal patterns of avoiding the main touristy area and kind of going down the side street to find somewhere. The other place had like a 30-person line. We walk in here, we're the second people. Since we were in the area, we kind of felt like we had to do the quick experience of Tarpon Springs. It was very touristy, and I feel like when we're out camping or like out in more natural, quiet areas, and then we come to somewhere like this, it's like kind of extra jarring. There's so many people and music, and it's just a lot. It was a lot, but we did get dessert, because anywhere that has Greek desserts, you definitely got to get something. And it's getting a little windier and grayer, slightly nervous. Hope everything's gonna go well with the flight, but we're gonna head toward the airport now and kind of get everything reorganized and cross our fingers that the flight is going to take off.
As the wind continued to pick up and the sky got grayer, we really weren't sure what was going to happen with our flight until we actually lifted off the ground. So luckily we were able to board and we were on our way back home to see Redford. Thanks so much for coming along with us on this trip to Florida. We have a lot more Florida coming up soon, so make sure that you are subscribed, hit that notification bell, and we will see you again to explore the less visited northern area of the Sunshine State.
Well, you worried about you and me, the injustice, the next president to be, the news and what you hear, your career. It's time for you to face those fears, and it's all fair to be aware, and I'll be there, so don't be scared. Just take a deep breath of air, and 1, 2, 3 to 10, you begin to focus again, and no time flies.